Good morning, guys, and once again, you're welcome to CY Life, where you get the most authentic and the most enriching videos to your life journey. Today, we have a very interesting person with us, someone I consider as a good inspiration for the youths of our time. And I'm here with Angelo, who is from Uganda, and I'd like you to briefly introduce yourself to our audience.
I'm Angelo, Kinene. I don't look old, but I'm actually 30 years.
Okay.
I'm in China, I found myself in China after this revealing fact that I'm building a massive business in my country.
Okay.
But most of what I deal in, the products, the industry, they're all sourced from China. So presented the idea of coming to China, I was so mesmerized. I had to come, partly because you have to get out of your comfort zone so you can grow even more or bigger. The level my business was at in my country was already enough for me to exit it, for it to run on its own, and then I start sourcing for it. Because I believe when you start a business and you want to run it at a massive scale, you have to scale itself, starting from the supply chain to managerial and everything. So I had to exit the business itself,
Okay.
so that it can stand on its own, and then I start sourcing for the business.
So you're saying you literally left your country to come to China, though now you're doing your master's in international business.
Yes.
But the key focus, the thing that actually brought you to China, was the business exploits that you saw.
Exactly.
And why do you think business is an escape route, maybe, for instance, for the young Africans today?
When you look at a business, it's more like a human being.
Okay.
When you look at a business, how you start the business, it's like you've just given birth to a baby that doesn't know how to eat, run, think, and do sorts of things on their own. So you have to model this business as a baby from way back. Place structures for it to run itself when you're away. Because I believe as a person, you need two things: be self-reliant, and then be financially free if you want to enjoy all the sorts of good things of life. So a business can give you that.
Okay.
You can be self-reliant, you can be financially free if you start a very good business.
I see.
Yes.
I see. I want to believe equally that in Africa, many young people, there's a lot of reliance on government resources which are highly limited.
Yes.
And I think an escape route for many young people would be entrepreneurship. Many of the entrepreneurship we have in our country is very informal, and many young people don't really know how to expand their business and how to grow it up to the mega businesses that we see all around here. But you started a business when you were just 24.
Yes.
You've grown that businesses to many inlets in your country,
Yes.
and you came to China so that you can see how you can develop that business even more.
Yes.
What do you say to young people who are seeking to vouch into entrepreneurship, but they are actually unsure of what to really do or where to really start from, especially with finances, for instance?
Finances is really, I would say, it's the blood stream for any business.
Yeah.
However, as the global economy transverses, or what's it called, evolves, the finances really start the business but doesn't start them working out of the business. You can have the finances, and that could be the reason why you fail at the business.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So, because I'll tell you this, if I started with all the money and with all the big ideas I had, I would definitely be in the trenches, because you can blow up this account in just no time, trying to impress or paint a bigger picture than what the business can give out. Yeah. As a business, it is run on sales. If you don't make any sales, however much stores or product you have that is very cute and presentable and technologically advanced, if it doesn't have sales, it will just drown.
Okay.
So you focus on building the business, but most importantly, the product that it sells, be it a service or a product. But still, you can't have the product alone if you don't have the clientele to buy it. So you focus more on the clients that are going to buy the product, because you can create the product and the client that don't like the product at all. So you understand the perspective of the client, then you build a product that they can easily buy and enjoy.
Okay. I would like to be more specific to your own story.
Yes.
At 24, many young people don't have money to
Yes.
start a business.
Yes.
How was it for you? How did you kickstart this business that today you are able to employ 2 or 3 other workers?
There
in your
are
shop?
7 right now.
7
Yeah, there are
employees.
7 employees.
Few Africans at your place are able to employ people like that.
Exactly.
So how much money did you have to start this business? Because from what you're saying, you don't necessarily need the resources. Like somebody says, it's not about the resources, it's about the resourcefulness. How
Exactly.
resourceful you are with the
Exactly.
little you have. So what can you tell me based on your own story?
My own story is basically a $0 check. That I started
$0.
with.
I hope we are not
$0
talking
check.
about these motivational speakers who told us they started a restaurant business with one grain of rice.
Of course. So starting my business was a model that I created, the so-called drop shipping. It's not
Okay.
a model that I created, but I viewed it as a model that I can start my business with.
Okay.
Given that the product was already there in my country,
Okay.
and I could create relationships with the people selling the product, I went ahead to just create the relationships and then create the market, for example, the clientele, and then I sourced the product directly to the clients.
Okay.
On demand, what the so-called on demand. So what I did was, you create the relationship with the supplier or the product owner, and then you create a portal where a client will buy from.
Okay.
Fast forward, creating a business requires you 3 or 5 things to figure out. First, when you figure out the product. 2, who is going to buy the product, and 3, how you're going to be paid. If you figure out 3 things, you have a business at hand, because you can get the product, you can get someone who buys it, and how you're going to get paid. If you get all those 3, that's business complete. So after figuring all those out, and I didn't need really cash at hand except the knowledge and the resourcefulness of the platforms available, the online platforms, and then of course the clientele was there. Yeah, I deal in shoes, so every other people in my country, they have feet, they put on shoes, and the shoes were in my country. So it was a matter of time to connect these 3 dots and then create a business without any capital. Yeah. So moving forward, of course, you can't run a business totally on drop shipping and you expect the business to stand for tens and hundreds of years, because my big dream still is this business is going to go on for 50 years or even more. Yeah. So that means I have to find even a more efficient model to create capital for myself to scale the business, and I stopped depending on the suppliers of my country. So I had to find I had to look for financial knowledge and find ways to get money or secure capital that doesn't have a lot of strings attached.
I see.
Yes.
I see. So if you're watching this video, you want to take one thing away from there is, you don't necessarily need the resources per se, you just need to at times to be resourceful at times. Exactly. Definitely you may need the money at certain point, but oftentimes what you need the most is how you can think out of the box. He says he started his business without any cash at hand. He was able just to relate with suppliers, get goods from them, sell, and then he was able to, from there, kickstart a business which today is employing 7 people. So at times we just need to think out of the box. We just need to be able to venture out there, take those risks, and have a clientele. And after he tested the market, he was able to see that actually these things can sell. They are actually people. He said people have feet and they wear sneakers, they wear shoes. And so he has been able to create a niche for himself in that market. And it's what is building up the revenue for him. So for today's episode, I want to thank you so much for the information that you've been able to give our audience. We are going to continue with this session Subsequently, any last words before we hand
The
over?
last point I want you to take away is a wise man once said, "Don't put all your eggs in one basket."
Okay.
But then a wiser man said, "What if you put all your eggs in one basket and watch the basket?"
Exactly.
This simply means if you get this one product, focus on that one product, because a product always has the customer. Then create this product in a way that fits better with your client, and then you create an everlasting business. Remember, the strongest marketing skill is the word of mouth. So treat one client at a time. As a business, only one job you are required to is create a new client, and then the second job is to keep the old client. If you do those two things, sales will always come in. And like I said, sales is the bloodline of business.
You heard it from him himself. If you want, put all the eggs in the basket and watch the basket. Till we meet again, it was me, your humble host, Cyril, and here we have our very own Angelo. We'll have this and we'll continue this session next time for more insights on CY Life. Have a nice day.